Good morning, Mr. Albert.
It's me.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
Fine. It's so nice to have you with us. I got to tell you, a quick story. I just talked to my brother about an hour ago in Geneva, Switzerland. And back in '60s, he brought your album with Tijuana Brass and Sergio Mendes. So I called him, told him that we have an interview. He said, "Wow, please tell him hello." I said, "I sure will."
Okay, thank you.
So you guys coming down for May 4th, right?
Yeah, we're looking forward to that, man. That's a biggie.
It is. Have you been?
It gets a lot of attention, that festival, and I mentioned it to some friends. They said, "Man, you're playing there."
Oh yeah.
They think I'm a big shot. Yeah.
Oh, you are. So are you coming down with Ms. Lenny?
Oh, absolutely, Lonnie.
Lonnie, rather. Great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. No, we've been doing concerts all over the country for the last 11 years.
That's great. By the way, I got your latest album, and I was reviewing it this morning, and I loved the arrangement of Alfie.
Oh, yeah.
And Doodles, and the one that I think, should be a motion picture, sort of a soundtrack, should be Mystery Man. What a gorgeous number.
Yeah, that was written by me and my bass player, Hussein Jifri.
Oh yeah,
he has a whole different take on rhythm. He's from Sri Lanka.
Oh, okay.
And he has a little different hop when he plays, so it's fun to play music with him.
Oh, that's beautiful. And by the way, I'm sure you heard, was it the last week or week before last, we lost Tommy LaPuma. So,
well, Tommy was a dear friend of mine.
Well, there you go. And this morning I was thinking, I said, look at all these duos that they created, this wonderful produced music. Al Schmidt and Johnny and Tommy LaPuma, and then you and Jerry and Dave Grusin and Larry Rosen. I mean, how did you guys start this business?
Well, getting to Tommy, I gave him his start at A&M.
Yeah.
Working at A&M, and he did, Guantanamera, and then he did this famous jazz album with Claudine Lanchet.
Oh, wow. That's a name I haven't heard in quite some time.
Yeah, I know. No, but Tommy worked his way up, and he loved music. He loved jazz. He was he was one of those people, man. He walked in a room and you liked him. He got you at hello. He was one of those guys.
Yeah, I was listening to, I think it was maybe Diane Reeves or one of those vocalists on the XM radio, and they were talking about Tommy LaPuma, and she said when Tommy was coming to this studio, everybody calmed down and nobody gets nervous or anything like that. And
well, he had that type of energy. He was a real person, and I was in contact with him to the end, and man, it was really tragic what happened. I don't know if you know the story. And
I don't.
They thought he had pneumonia.
Uh-huh.
They rushed him to the hospital. They were treating him for pneumonia, and the antibiotics did not work. So something else was brewing. In the meantime, he stopped breathing, so they put him on a ventilator. And we're trying to figure out what indeed was wrong. And the last time I spoke to Jill, his wife, he was feeling better. And I was thinking, well, man, okay, now it's just a matter of time. He'll be home. 3 days later, I called, and she told me that he took a turn for the worse. They could not figure out what had happened.
Goodness.
He just he went downhill. And, speculation, my wife and I are speculating, maybe it was the superbug or something got him that they just could not identify and could not treat. So
right.
It was tragic, man. He was such a lovely person. I don't think you can't find a person to say anything nasty about him. He was great.
No, everybody said exactly what you're saying. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go back and talk about growing up in east side of Los Angeles, growing up and going to USC and all that.
Yeah, I really didn't grow up there. I was one when we moved from East L.A.
Uh-huh.
And, man, I had this really fortunate situation in my grammar school. When I was 8 years old, there was a music appreciation class, which they don't have for the most part in most public schools.
Right.
Private schools. And there was a trumpet sitting on a table, and I picked it up and I started to blow hot air through it, and it didn't work. So, anyways, I liked the feel of it, and I liked the sound when I finally did get a sound out of it, and it was talking for me. It was, I was very shy. I was an introvert. Well, I still am an introvert, but I was very, happy that this horn was speaking for me. So, and I spent a lot of my time after A&M Records. I'd like all kids to have this experience, not necessarily playing a trumpet, but some creative form, do something creative that would give them a feeling of they're special.
Right.
Whether it's dance or poetry or sculpting, painting, whatever it is, but making music. I think if they get that feeling, then they can get to appreciate themselves in a different way. And if they can do that, then hopefully they'll appreciate the other person's uniqueness, and
right.
we need a heck of a lot more of that in this world.
Absolutely. By the way, I saw you guys did some co-written music for Jan and Dean.
Boy.
And Sam Cooke.
Oh, yeah. Well,
this is incredible.
Yeah. Well, the story of the Sam Cooke story is more unique because we wrote a song called All of My Life that Sam recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a song that Lou and I wrote that Sam really liked, and we adapted it to Wonderful World.
Right.
And which was one of the biggest songs Sam ever recorded. But here's the unique part of it. After we wrote it, Sam wanted to see if the song would work, and so he did it as a demo. He just wanted to see if, he felt good singing it, and he got a bunch of musicians together, not necessarily all professional, but just musicians.
Right.
Did this demo for Keen Records. They put it on the shelf. They did not release it until Sam left Keen Records and went to RCA.
Right.
And became very successful with a string of hits. So the Keen Record Company decided to release Wonderful World. That was a demo. Well,
right.
It became one of the biggest songs Sam ever had.
That's incredible.
I mean, it's just who knows what a hit record sounds like is the moral of that story.
That's true. That's true. And also I saw that you guys with A&M label recorded the Carpenters, and of course Sergio Mendes. Tell us about Sergio Mendes. I mean, I think that really changed the whole genre of music in U.S.
Well,
just like your Tijuana Brass,
That was the most fortunate thing that ever happened to me, because in 1966, my partner Jerry Moss and I auditioned Sergio Mendes in Brazil '66, and luck we have it, Lonnie Hall. My wife,
yes,
was the lead singer, and I walked into this room and heard this incredible sound. I mean, it was like a hybrid of Brazilian jazz,
exactly,
pop, gospel, classical. It had a great mixture of elements, and then Lonnie was the lead singer, and her voice is just
beautiful,
God-given voice. It's beautifully. She's just beautiful, and so
that's what you call registered voice.
Well, it's one of those. She has the thing, whatever.
Yep.
That
exactly.
it factor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so we signed them to A&M, and then luck we have it for them. They opened the show for us for a good period of time, and built up an audience. And then when we got back to L.A., I produced the first few albums with them.
Incredible.
And produced that record that was the breakthrough for them, that Más Que Nada record.
Más Que Nada, yeah.
And, Sergio and I are dear friends, even though we had a little snag because I snagged Lonnie. But we're dear friends now, and we see each other like once a month. We have dinner together, and he's an amazing musician. This is a guy that
absolutely
has special talent.
Well, they were in Austin 2 years ago or a year ago, and it was sold out. I wanted to go, and they said they sold out.
Yeah.
So it's so this is the same time when Lonnie and also Wanda Sao was there too, right? The other vocalist.
No, Wanda Sao was that was Brazil '65.
Oh, 65.
Yeah,
okay.
Sergio was in Chicago at the time.
Oh, okay.
with Wanda and decided to disband that particular group and said he was going to give it one more try. And heard Lonnie singing at a club in Chicago.
And that was it, yeah.
And asked her to be the lead singer with this new concept.
Beautiful.
So he had to get permission from her father because Lonnie was 19 at the time.
Wow.
And, one thing led to another, and it all worked out. But, the first few gigs that they played, they were playing in Puerto Rico or someplace in the Caribbean, I believe.
Yeah.
And the manager came up to them as they were performing, and they said, "You know what? You guys aren't happening, and some of the guests are getting upset.
Wow.
I'm going to pay you, but you guys got to leave." That was his first experience with the new group.
Wow.
Yeah.
No. This and exactly what you're saying. You could even hear some of the Ramsey Lewis trio, sort of early days influence.
Well, Sergio's big influence was Horace Silver. Actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
okay,
he loved
that's
Horace
why.
Silver, and as I did as well. But,
Yep.
Yeah, but he was a jazzer. When he was 21, he played with Cannonball. He did an album with Cannonball Adderley.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. For 40 years, this is my 40th year anniversary on the KLSU doing the jazz program. And the introduction to my show is Killer Joe rendition by Quincy Jones from Walking Space on your label, A&M.
Yeah.
This is an incredible album. I'm sure you remember the date or how.
Well, I remember the album. I mean, when you talk about Quincy, you're talking about a real special guy, real special talent, man. He's so wide. He's studied. He knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
He can do pop. He did "Don't Cry," My Party. From that, I mean, he's. I don't know, man. He's so widespread. I was thinking the other day as I was being interviewed, and it just kind of flew out of my mouth. We're just dealing with 12 notes.
Mm-hmm.
There's only
That's
12
right.
notes that Beethoven had, that Mozart had, that Thelonious Monk had. It's the same notes.
Exactly.
How many different ways they can be scrambled up to
That's
say
right.
nothing about the amount of rhythms you can put to them and harmony.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this: when you were growing up, who was your favorite, trumpeter?
Well, boy, I went through a series of people. Probably Harry James at one
Oh
point.
yeah.
Randy Brooks. That's probably before your time. Randy Brooks.
Wow.
Can't get started. Him.
Absolutely. But what's interesting? You have this registered sound on the trumpet. So I hear the first note, I know it's you.
Hey, man, that's good. Miles Davis said you hear three notes, and it's Herb Alpert. That really gave me a buzz because I adored him. He was, I think he understood jazz better than anyone. I mean, in terms of how to put it together and how to be creative and in the moment.
Absolutely. Well, tell us about the National Medal of Arts in front of President Obama. We're going to miss him.
Well, man, we're going to miss him desperately. But he's going to
Absolutely.
get his spotlight. He's going to come back, and everyone's going to hopefully appreciate
Exactly.
what a human being this guy is. It was a magical moment for me. Obviously, when they called me, I had no idea that I was going to receive something like that. And
That's wonderful.
went to the White House and had this moment. When he put this around my neck, that was certainly a thrill. And then the protocol is, you go into after it's over, after the ceremony is over, you go into the green room or whatever they call it, other room, and then I take a picture with the president. Then Michelle comes. The three of us took a picture. Then
Nice.
my wife. The four of us took a picture, and my wife, my innocent wife, after we took those pictures, she looked at President Obama and said, "Do you think we could have some of these pictures?" He started laughing, man, like a little kid. He said, "Are you kidding?" He says, "Why do you think I'm taking these pictures?"
Well, I tell you, when you were talking about all these wonderful concerts that he had at the White House on the jazzy side, pop, R&B, blues, I've never seen any presidents, showing so much affection and appreciation for music and arts.
Well, the guy is real.
Yep.
He's a real person. He's
genuine.
I love him.
Yep. Well, let's talk about all these wonderful charity organization and works that you guys do, and the Herb Alpert School of Music at Cal Arts. Tell us about that.
Well, we have the one at Cal Arts and one at UCLA, which
is
okay. Really dynamic. We have the Thelonious Monk Institute
right.
involved in the school, and it's been beautiful. We have the heavy duty jazzers. Herbie Hancock and Wayne Shorter are part of it, and
wow.
Yeah, it's great.
That's wonderful. And then let's talk about Miss Hall and her rendition of "Never Say Never Again" for the James Bond movie.
It was a great opportunity. We got a call from Alan and Marilyn Bergman. They were in New York, and they had a rendition of that song
right.
for the movie, and they were not happy with it. What came out, and so they called and asked if Lonnie would sing the title song.
Nice.
So we jumped at that, and Sergio and I produced that record.
Beautiful.
And then it was, like rush, and it was in that movie like 2 weeks after we recorded it or thereabouts. And then we flew to Monaco for the release, and Lonnie sang it there in person, in live, and then she got a standing ovation from Sean Connery. But she got all excited about that. He was very gracious to her, and it was a beautiful moment for her.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, tell us what kind of a repertoire or music we're expecting for New Orleans Jazz and Heritage.
A little bit of everything.
Great.
Like I said, we've been playing for 11 years together, and we have a whole group of songs that we interchange, and night after night it's very loose. It's very improvisational for the most part. We play a lot of standards, a lot of American songbook songs, some Brazilian songs. I'll do a little Tijuana brass medley. Lonnie will do a Brazil 66 medley. But surrounding that is all very loose. It's very of the moment. That's why I like doing this. I never know exactly what's going to come out of the horn, but it's always going to be fresh.
That's wonderful. And your keyboardist, Eduardo Del Barrio.
No, the keyboard that I'm with is Bill Cantos.
Oh, Bill Cantos. Okay, yeah.
Bill Cantos, and
he's wonderful too. Yeah.
Oh man, this guy's a prodigy.
Absolutely.
He's extremely. You just start playing a song and he's right there. You don't. Out of the blue, I'll play something, and how in the hell do you know that song, man? You're a young guy.
And by the way, this gorgeous number, Doodles, that's really a nice, catchy number.
Yeah, well, I wrote that with Eduardo Del Barrio, who's been a friend of mine for 40 years. He's genius. Doesn't know it. Doesn't think he is, but he's really special. Cool. He's from Argentina.
Oh, and, so the land of Gato Barbieri.
Oh boy.
Well, let's talk about him and your experience with him.
Yeah, well, Gato was something really. He was something special. Gato was feast or famine. When Gato played and when I was recording him, it was either knock you out, chill bumps, made you cry.
Yep.
To from that extreme to what the hell is that? It was awful.
Right.
He was not in between. He was either absolutely
extreme, yeah.
Yeah, or nothing. But he was a real passionate musician. I remember I did a thing with Billy Eckstein.
Yeah, wow.
Quincy and I recorded Billy Eckstein, did a single with him. And I remember asking Billy, because he played in Paris.
Right.
On a show with Gato. I said, and I was thinking he was going to say something really interesting. I said, what do you think of Gato when you heard him?
Oh.
He said, man, it sounded like he was continually warming up.
But I tell you, some of the ballads that he played, that soundtrack for Marlon Brando, Last Tango in Paris.
That's where he hooked me on that. Last Tango in Paris.
That was quite a movie and quite a music. What a soundtrack.
It was a beautiful soundtrack.
Oh, absolutely. To this day, every now and then I play it, and people, they call and say, "What is this?" So yeah, man, that's some classics. So we're so excited to have you, Herb, in New Orleans. Definitely enjoy the food. I'm sure you will, and the atmosphere. There's something about New Orleans. It's just like one Paris, one San Francisco, and one New Orleans. That's it.
Yeah, well, man, I did a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it was filmed there. We during Mardi Gras. This was 1967 or 68. I can't
Wow.
remember.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I spent a good couple weeks in New Orleans. I love it. I mean, there's no place like it.
Oh, it's just the whole atmosphere and the people and the cuisine, and it's just incredible. And by the way, I got to tell you a quick story, and you're going to enjoy this. I was probably early teens, sitting next to my dad overseas with his shortwave radio, okay? And we picked up pirate radio out of North Sea. And they were playing all these hits like the Kinks and the Animals and Yardbirds and all that. And then they took a break, and they came up with This Guy Is in Love with You. And we were floored. And they played that on the pirate radio.
Oh.
So you can imagine. And then years later, when they made a movie about it, people, they called me and said, "Oh, I thought you were just joking about this pirate radio." I said, "No." But your song was part of their playlist.
Well, it was the #1 record in the country.
Exactly.
For
Exactly.
a few weeks, and it caught me totally off guard because I did it on a TV show, and the TV show just had an audience that loved that record. I did that in one take, believe it or
You
not.
kidding?
No.
Well, your voice was so relaxed, and the music was great. It was like
Well, I put my voice on a track that Burt Bacharach and
Right.
a lot of great musicians put together. I was in the studio, obviously, with that.
Right.
And then I wanted to just see if my voice would work on that track, so I just sang it, And I go into the control room, and Burt was there, and a few singers and a few of the musicians. And I walked in. They said, "Don't touch it." I said, "Don't touch what?" He says, "Don't touch what you just did. It's great."
Wow. That's like
That
Miles' one take, as they say.
Yeah, I was. I wasn't trying to. I never thought of myself as a singer, but I was just
that
trying
was
to
wonderful.
communicate the feeling of the song.
By the way, we want to thank you again, and this gorgeous album with the sculpture that you've done is on the cover, and I was just mesmerized. I mean, you've been doing quite a nice artwork as a sculptor and a painter as well. That's a hobby, or more than a hobby, the talent that you have that we didn't know.
Yeah. No, I don't do it as a hobby. I'm really serious about
I know.
I've been doing it for
I
over
know.
40 years, and
Right.
that sculpture is going to UCLA, the trumpet player.
That's gorgeous. Yes.
And I'm fortunate, man. I'm a right-brained guy. I spend most of my time just playing music and sculpting and painting.
No, this is wonderful. That's a complete sort of a package, as they say.
Well, I hope to think that a lot of people can experience that feeling of getting up in the morning and doing something what they're excited about doing, as you do, with being on the radio.
Absolutely. And by the way, give my best regards to Ms. Caroline Graham. She did a wonderful job. We thank her also for coordinating. I know that you're very busy with your busy schedule. It was a pleasure to have you. We're going to polish this. I'm going to send a link to Caroline to send it to you so you can have it for your archives. And then
great.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks, we're going to air it. And also, I'm going to air it right before your concert in New Orleans during that weekend.
Great. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just as an aside, Caroline has been with me for years, and she's very proper. She's very English,
professional.
So every time she calls me, she says, "Hello, Herb. This is Caroline Graham."
And it was interesting. She called me yesterday. She said, "Well, we finally found out that Zia is a male person." I said, "Well, thank you."
Yeah, she's good.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
You too, man. Thank you.
Thank you again. Take care.
You're welcome.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.